Anyway, gives me great pleasure. This is the most fun. Joining me now is Brian Kilmeade, co-host of Fox & Friends, host of One Nation with Brian Kilmeade, and host of The Brian Kilmeade Show on radio. Hi, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Larry. Appreciate it.
Always wonderful. You know, what I want to focus, a number of things, but this business that he can just lie with impunity. I don't like to use the word lie with presidents, but they are. They're just falsehoods. And my point here, said it many times, is Americans are smarter than he thinks. They see right through it. But basically, this idea that he can, change what is into what isn't, I think is very demoralizing. It's really damaged the body politic, and it's something folks are increasingly sick of.
I'm with you on the word lie, because it's a cheap word. Let's just define it. But you broke it down, and I want to do that Saturday night. A couple of things. We realized on Afghanistan, when he said it was a big success, 13 dead, and we see the pullout happen, embarrassed the country in a way I've never seen, didn't think was possible. Remember that government was not, there's no danger of that government falling. And it fell, less time. Then he said, Zelensky doesn't really have a chance. You guys want to ride to get out of here? And he said, no, I'm going to fight this. No, they don't have a shot. They're going to fall in a week. Obviously, not only did they not fall, they're about to win. And now, suddenly, we're waking up to the fact that they need some weapons. And slowly but surely, the American public going, really, now I'm writing these big checks. Instead of just telling everyone about it, educating them on it, telling us what HIMARS are and how we're needed. So we look at these things as blatant, because the war, I think, is the easiest way to define reality. I just think the word reality is your paycheck. I fully am cognizant of greater jobs we have. But I grew up in a paycheck-to-paycheck household. We knew exactly the whole family knew how much the utilities were, where the mortgage was. We saw the kilowatts rotating on the outside of the house. We shut the lights. We understood it. Now, all of a sudden, people are coming up to me and saying, my light bill is up a third. Forget about gas. Oh, gas is down, but it's still $1 something over. Now, even though that a lot of people are saying, well, what's the big deal? It is a big deal for a lot of people, when not only do you not feel their pain, but you deny the pain that they're having.
That's it. Stuff.
That's the problem.
I said it. None of this riff stuff is perfect, but you know what? They feel it in their bones, and they see it in their budget.
They're not going out to dinner tonight.
No president can deny what they see and feel.
But he celebrated on Tuesday, or was it Wednesday? I don't even remember.
Just slap in the face of working folks. That's the way I look at it.
How about this? We forget about it. It was only 2 weeks ago when he passed the Inflation Reduction Act. And the day he passes it, he names it what it really is: the biggest investment in green energy in the history of the country. So right away, he said, wait a second. Just because his most fervent supporter said, it's the Inflation Reduction Act. Why wouldn't it be? And he actually lets down the people that believe in him, let alone the people who are waiting to be deceived. So that's why a lot of people are saying, you just wait till I get to the ballot box. I know abortion's a big deal. I understand that.
Me too.
And I know females are registering, and I don't think anyone's skewing those numbers. But if you look around and you just say where we were and where we aren't, you got to act. And I'll bring up the last point, and that is immigration. Don't tell me that the border was worse off and you inherited a broken system when he got here. You know why? Because we watched Donald Trump fire Homeland Security secretaries, go down and says, build my wall. I had it with Paul Ryan because he wouldn't finance it. We watched the fits and starts when it wasn't sealed. Then we watched 450 miles get built. We saw the repurposing of defense. We saw the deals cut with Central Americans. We saw a Mexican socialist president who was supposed to be enemies with the president, ends up being the last one to acknowledge that Joe Biden won. And if he was so bad with our neighbors, why did they like him enough to embrace his leadership and respect what he did?
You just can't fool Americans. My basic point, they're much smarter than Biden seems to think they are. The one other add-in that has annoyed me from day one of the Biden administration was when he keeps saying that the vaccine shelves were bare. Of course, he and his wife were vaccinated. And finally, months and months and months later, they said, well, yes, the Republicans did have, 1 million vaccines when we came into office. Brian, let me go a step more on this point. One of the nation's leading pollsters, Trafalgar, they're very good, makes a point that all the Biden extremism rhetoric aimed at the GOP, MAGA, fascist, semi-fascist, undermining democracy. He's saying that it may be making polling impossible because folks are afraid to say, I'm a Republican. And the folks are afraid to say, I might even vote for Trump again. They won't fess up. So the polls are very badly skewed. Now, I just wonder.
I think there's something to it.
Right. Is there something to that?
I think there's no doubt about it. I will say this, I'm mad at myself because once again, I'm looking at the polls and believing in them when the only thing I should have learned over the last 8 years is not to. Because remember, Joni Ernst is too close to call. Susan Collins, we're not sure if she could possibly hold on to that seat. They wouldn't end up winning handily. Donald Trump, with everything against him, still got more overall votes than any other Republican in history at 74 million, and certainly the most to ever lose in a Republican period. And then when you see other people like Ron Johnson was trailing by 6 6 years ago, and then remember he ended up winning easily. Like now they say he's trailing by 2. Why for a second do you possibly believe that? How many people don't even get calls? You got to get a call how? Through an email? Okay. How many people aren't open their emails? Through cell phones? You're not getting my cell phone number. Oh, through landlines? Good luck with that. I don't pick up the phone.
They won't fess up. They don't know who's listening,
Absolutely.
number one. And they don't know who's going to hold it against them later because Biden has insulted, at least half of the population, if not more. I mean, I think that's an interesting small point, but may turn out to be a big point as we get closer to the election. The polls may not be telling us anything.
Right, and I don't know if it's possible, if I've seen the science behind the polls, period, that will be effective. That makes me think, wow, I think those 1,000 people are really indicative of where we're going. For example, how could possibly Lieutenant Governor Fetterman possibly be winning?
Right.
I mean, the guy is Bernie Sanders in Pennsylvania. You've been to Pennsylvania. That is the ultimate purple state. You battle it out as a moderate. You have trouble as a conservative. But to me, you don't survive as a socialist. And this guy doesn't want to frack. He wants to empty the prisons in a time we can't put people in jail. And then he has this other cognitive problem, which I feel bad that he had a stroke. But also, sadly, I know if I had a stroke, I couldn't do this job.
I wouldn't run.
I couldn't run, but they'd say, Brian, listen, I'll support you, but you got to, until you get better, you can't sit on this seat because you got to communicate for a living. This guy has got to legislate for a living. How's he going to do it? I don't know if he can get his sweatshirt on and off.
Yeah, it's a very strange story. It's just interesting how the polls may be distorted. They're always somewhat distorted, but it may be worse. Last point, Brian. Former President Trump said today, if he is indicted, it's going to rip the country into half, rip the country into two. I wanted you to see if you can help. I'm not sure where this thing stands. With respect to the Mar-a-Lago documents, okay, let me go there. We now have a special master. The special master has a November 30th deadline, as I understand it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But parts of those documents may be given to the Justice Department, so-called classified documents, way ahead of time, a.k.a. before the election. Is it possible in your mind that the Justice Department would bring an indictment against Trump before the election? Trump didn't say they're gonna. He just said if they do, it's going to rip the country into two parts. But I'm just wondering, what's up their sleeve here? How does this thing play out in the next 8 weeks?
Well, I think one thing that happened, their sleeves were taken, and this was a surprise. This judge said, yeah, I don't want you looking at that. I don't want you looking at this stuff until the special master takes a look at it. I don't want any leaks out to November 30th. You're not going to do it. Don't continue. Plus, that unsaid rule within 60 days, you're not supposed to do anything when it has to affect an election.
But just
they could leak it.
Well, that's the thing. But also, yes, it could. It definitely. Not to interrupt, but just this point. The Justice Department, they've agreed on this judge, Raymond Dearie. He's a Brooklyn judge. He was a Reagan appointee many years ago, semi-retired. But, Brian, the Justice Department is appealing the special master. And so I just wondered, what is the motive behind that?
The motive behind that is we don't like the Trump-appointed judge. We don't think that judge made the right decision, so we're going to appeal that. And we believe we should have access to everything, including the shin pads in Barron's in his closet.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the appeal is the knee-jerk reaction. I don't like this ruling. Let's go to another judge. And then in the meantime, special master's name. They agree on the special master, and they got that parallel track to maybe go to a judge that they agree with.
You don't think the DOJ would have the backbone to indict Trump before the election? I mean, is that possible?
It would be absolutely insane. But the other thing is, has Merrick Garland, behind the scenes, have we heard any reports of him standing up to President Biden? He knows it would be wrong. right? And I know Barr would for a second would say, Mr. President, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to protect you from yourself. By the way, you're going to get the wrong result. If you think, if your goal is to make sure that Trump supporters don't come out and motivated, or Republicans sit this out, if you go indict a president that's clearly going to run again, or was that before, to me, like you said, to your original premise, people aren't stupid. Right. They make their own decisions. They understand reality. They don't need it defined to them. They would understand.
It would be the biggest turnout in history, midterm elections.
It would be.
Of any election.
Yeah, so what is your goal? Just to get Trump at all costs?
Brian Kilmeade, the best. Now, you can catch him on One Nation with Brian Kilmeade, Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox News. Brian will be joining me and some of my other pals next Wednesday, September 21st, for the Unauthorized History of Socialism. Right. That's a live summit. It kicks off at 11 a.m. on Fox Nation.
I'm going to come out in support of socialism, so I'm going to surprise you. All right? We'll see how that goes.
We'll have a great discussion.
It'll be great. Me and Marx.
I hope I get here on time.